All right, we are on. Where are you?
Right here. That's
We're on our way to test drive the VF8. We're super stoked, and we're gonna shoot with some of my favorite lenses today, and the lenses I bring on every trip, which is the 16-35, the 24-70. And I also brought my 35.
And you got the 7200 if you need it.
And I have the 7200, but I think we'll be a little too close for that. So this is a whole morning of shooting with my favorite lenses. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
I could tell you guys that we had this really big strategy on how we're going to take all these epic photos, but we have very limited time, so you're about to see me like really scrounge for some good stuff today. Really fight to get in there, so it's going to be a race to get the shot. Am I right?
It's also difficult because it's very bright today, which is not ideal for shooting cars. So
and
it looks nice, but the cars are gonna have these like really big like highlights and things on them. So we'll shoot them. I think they'll look good. There's a lot of branding around, which is fair. I kind of just want the car in like a cool backdrop.
We're here with VinFast. They are a well, Vin Group is a massive company. If you want more information on that, go watch this video up here. But we're here with VinFast. We're trying out their electric vehicles. So we're trying out specifically the VF8. It's a beautiful car. This is the first time I'm ever driving it, and I'm really excited to photograph it because it's a pretty car. Like, it's a very pretty vehicle. Right now I've got the 24-70 on, which I think I'm gonna rock because it's my most versatile lens, because I can get wide, I can get some tight detail shots, and like I said, I have very limited time and I am traveling. So that's why I'm always reaching for these three lenses, because I just get such a variety. They're really run and gun, and if you've been on this channel for a while, I've kind of beaten to the ground that those two lenses specifically are just the ones I always have handy and I always recommend, because they're the first two you add to your kit. It just allows you to get everything, and they're super great for like run and gun. I feel like I'm being redundant now. Then I always bring the 35 because I just love the 35mm focal length. Chris also has a 50mm, so that's gonna be great for detail stuff. I'm stoked. I mostly just want to drive. I'm just here to take photos for you guys today, but really I just want to drive selfishly. What about you?
I like the fruit.
Okay. We just got our first opportunity to go for a test drive, so we're gonna take it. Sorry about this angle. There's not much I can do about it. We're flying solo today. There's no Joshua, so
I'm gonna help you.
And Chris is gonna help as much as he can, but he has to take his own photos, so you're gonna see a lot of BTS with this dude. We're currently trying to stick it in my pocket because I want to drink my coffee. It's in my pants. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go! Beat up again!
Full service umbrella and all. I love this. Can you come home with me? Yes. She said yes. So the test drive was awesome. We haven't taken too many photos yet. We just pretty much documented that test drive, but the car is really nice. We're gonna see if we can move one of the cars in front of the mountainous background, because it's obviously, like, this is nice just for your average display of the car, but we want something a little more rugged, you know, a little more natural, a little less. So we're making everyone's job a little bit difficult, and if you've learned anything from what I'm saying right now, it's just to ask for what you need, and you may have to be a little bit annoying about it. You may have to bug people to get exactly what you want, but don't just accept where, like, especially if you're shooting car photography or you're shooting an event kind of like this, don't just accept where they've put the cars. Really try and push for that better quality photo, because a lot of times your client doesn't really understand that that is what's going to look better. Like, they know what they're normally working with in terms of media, but they don't know what we need as content creators and as photographers or as videographers. So you kind of have to push to get that shot, and they will ultimately be so much happier for that in the future. We're gonna go, oh my goodness, we're gonna go take some photos by the road. They've closed the track for us, so we'll see how that goes. It's been very speedy. Hello! Hello, you're very dark. So they've now closed the track for us, so we've hopped into the back of the car at lightning speed. In a couple minutes, we're gonna go shoot as many photos as we can on this track because unfortunately we can't take the cars off the track, but we'll make it work. Yeah, flowers are good, I think. I don't love the railing. The track's closed. Taking pictures 24/7. I have CP on. CPs are very important when you're taking car photos for minimizing reflections, as you may have seen in my previous videos. Oh, that looks good. Let's take this. We're gonna take some photos right down in the middle of the road. It's always really nice to crank the wheel all the way in, and it's kind of nice also that the logo's facing up, so that worked out nicely. If you can make that happen, make it happen. I've got my lens cranked all the way to 70 mil so that I can get as much depth as I possibly can. Yeah. I just pulled the car up against these flowers over here just to get some directly on the side, something very like parallel. I don't know what the word is. Flat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Symmetrical.
Symmetrical, that's the one. And so I'm just moving around trying to get some details as well. Again, I'm still at 70 mil, trying to keep it as shallow as possible. The silver pops really nicely on the background because it's nice dark green and purple. So if we have time, I'd like to pull it into the middle of the road quickly. We'll see. I feel like he's motioning. Do we have to go?
No, you have time. Go.
Okay, we're gonna move the car.
So we're just kind of taking a look around to see what's possible in terms of like shooting. So we didn't love that angle that we were just on, mainly because it doesn't also look super natural to have a car in the corner of a turn. So what we're gonna do is bring it over so we can get these castles in the background. Maybe it looks a little bit more unique to the area rather than just like a generic road. Lizzie. Pro tip, always have communication. Lizzie, roll down your window. Shoot the back of the car, turning around the corner. Everyone loves to shoot the front of cars. Back of the car is always super underrated. So let's have the car coming around the corner as if it's like pulling into this area. I would really recommend walkie-talkies if you can get them so that you can tell your person who's driving or communicate with everyone. Because like communication might be the most important aspect of car stuff because it's so unsafe. It's literally like the most unsafe type of shooting you can do because you have a physical, massive machine that could just hurt a lot of people. And so make sure the communication is always on set. So Lizzie, bring it into that corner. Bring it in as if it's coming around the corner, not over the line.
Okay, so we're gonna switch lenses to the 7200 to get more compression because the background behind it we're shooting is obviously really far away and it'll bring it up closer to the lens.
And I have a little something for you.
Do you have a CP that fits?
Pocket CP.
Pocket CP.
No.
Don't try this at home, kids.
What's happening here?
We're using my bra. I think I made it worse, to be honest with you.
That looks great. Oh, that looks awesome. Yeah, I love that. I think you got some good bangers
I think I got some stuff to post. I'm really sweaty.
Yeah.
Let's go to the pool.
Now, all the music you've heard so far is brought to you by MUSICBED, the sponsor of today's video. Now, if you've been around on this channel for a while, you would know that I've been using MUSICBED for a hot minute, and I love them. For one thing, it's because they work with tons of talented musicians and artists who are incredibly passionate about their work. Now, these are real songs and albums that you can choose from in your work. Now, they've curated a roster of over 1,000 authentic and relevant artists like Family of Things, which is a band that we actually did a live session for last year. Music is the magic that can really bring a video together, and it can be really hard to find that perfect piece. And because of that, one of the reasons I always go back to MUSICBED is because their browse and search tools are built with filmmakers and creatives in mind. So you can search from genre to mood to even more advanced features parameters like BPM, beats per minute, or key. Now I've actually made my own playlist, which has some of my favorite tracks, and you can check that out in the description box below. But if you are really stuck, MUSICBED does offer a complimentary song search for you. Hear the difference for yourself and sign up for a free account on MUSICBED. Use code Lizzie at checkout to receive 1 month free of an annual subscription. And now, if you haven't noticed, I am back home at my desk. Actually, this is Josh's desk, but we're gonna edit some of the photos we took. So you guys can take a look at some of the photos we ended up taking that day. Here are 5 that I liked. This one was kind of a direct side angle. We have this one down the road of the red car. This one here, obviously we shot a little bit wider, and when I say we, but it was me, I don't know why I'm saying we. Obviously I shot it a little bit wider, went closer to the car, so that's why you get a little bit of distortion on the vehicle here. And when I was shooting through the trees, this is what we ended up with. I really do like these photos, but they do require definitely some time in Photoshop to remove like these flags, to remove this, what is that called?
Barrier arm.
Barrier arm, to remove the barrier arm. That's probably my favorite angle of the day. Without further ado, let us edit 2 of these photos so you guys can see how they completely turn out. And I'm gonna be using my 2 new preset packs today, my Kodiak pack and my vintage preset pack. And those are going to be available very soon. They're actually launching October 17th. They'll be first available in like a little bundle where you get my LP Peak Design camera strap, you get 100 social post ideas document that you actually only get available with this bundle. And there's only so many straps left, so it's a great deal for the whole bundle. Details for that will be in the description as well. So let's pick a preset to get us started. Okay, so we're gonna start with this red VinFast VF8 car. So I really like Jack and Jackie are probably my 2 favorites. Let's go with Jackie, and this is from the vintage preset pack. Boom. You could just leave it there, but what fun would that be for this video? It's a little dark. I'm gonna bring up the shadows a little bit more. We're gonna do a janky little removal of these light posts. I mean, you can go into Photoshop for this, and probably should, but usually this does like an okay job. So we've just selected our little healing brush, and I'm just gonna move where it's selecting from, because like it does an okay job, but it never quite selects the best area to pull from. That actually did a really decent job. Perfect. I love when you can just stay in the same program to do some of this stuff, because it just makes your life so much easier. So now we're gonna use my favorite feature of Lightroom, and that is select subject. There it is, a perfect selection as usual. Okay, so we're gonna bring up the exposure just a little bit, not a crazy amount. We don't want it to look unnatural. I'm gonna bring up the highlights a tiny bit, bring up the shadows a tiny bit. Now I just wanna brighten the wheels, so I am going to select my brush and do that there. I adjust the brush size by just with 2 fingers scrolling up and down on the trackpad, and I'm just gonna paint over the wheel. And on that, I'm gonna bring the highlights up and the exposure a little bit. And if you're not sure where you've actually selected, if you hit O, it will turn your selection. I mean, it defaults to red, but you can change it to whatever color you'd like. And then if you've missed a spot, now you can actually see where you've painted. There we go. Now we can see that wheel. And I want to do the same thing to the back wheel, but I'm going to use a whole new brush for that because I want it on a different layer, because I already know that this wheel isn't going to be quite as bright naturally as the front one. And again, just hit O to see where you're painting. And I'm gonna zoom out to see the entire image as I adjust the wheel to make sure what I'm doing isn't really unnatural. Now I'm actually gonna go back to my mask of the entire subject, and I'm going to increase the clarity on the car a bit so it really pops, and the contrast. And now I'm just going to fix the actual composition of the image a little bit. It's a little heavy on the right side, so we're just going to get rid of some of that dead space on the left there. And as you can see, we've used rule of thirds in this photo. The car's hitting right on that bottom line, the first section. It's funny, like the preset did a lot of the color work for us, but now we're really just like, because we've saved that time, we can kind of go in and have fun with drawing attention to the car and making it really moody and brightening the car in all those areas that we want. So it saves us time and gives us more time to be nitpicky about all of these other things that I'm doing right now. So one of my favorite things to do on especially car photos is just darkening the ground. So I use a linear gradient and I'll just pull the exposure down. It kind of creates the idea that the road is like endless and like disappearing underneath you in a way, and just draws your eye up towards the car. And now we're gonna add another linear gradient and we're gonna add it to the sky this time. Because when the sky is really flat like that, it's just not as exciting when it's just all one color. So I kind of like to add this linear gradient. Yeah, like that looks really cool. You already get back a lot of the texture in the sky just by adding that. You can even increase the clarity a little bit or the contrast to see a little bit more of that texture in the clouds and in the sky. And what always bothered me is that when I did this adjustment to the sky, it would go over top of, like, you can see this hill right here in the background. And I don't necessarily want to cover that, and I don't necessarily want it to darken along with the sky. So what's really awesome is I can select subtract here and I can go in with a brush and I can adjust the intensity of this brush and just remove a little bit of that darkness from the hill in the background. I really like how this is looking. I may go in and just a hair desaturate the greens a little bit more just because I'm really enjoying this like moody vibe we're getting. And then I might go into the hue, just yellow up those greens a little. And this is the final photo. Overall, I'm really pleased with it. This is great because I actually have to send these to the client today, so now I have them. Okay, so let's do photo number 2. Now I actually don't know how this is gonna go because very rarely am I editing purple flowers. We'll see how my presets look on that. That's the black and white one. We're not gonna go with that. Ooh, Jack always comes through. I feel like I'm gonna end up going with it. Okay, there's Jackie. It's a nice pop of color. It's a good time. Linen is nice. It's a little blue, but it's very clean, which it usually is. Norma's gonna be dramatic. Yeah, she's dramatic. Not today, Norms. Raffia looks good. It's pretty like fastball down the middle. It's very similar to linen, but it is different. Reef, not today. Sea glass, I feel like it's gonna look good. Ooh, that's a close second. Sea glass or Jack. Comment below which one you think I should have picked. And we're gonna go with Jack because it's my favorite, sorry. I feel like you guys all picked sea glass. All right, here's our starting point. I really do like how the purples turned out. It's like actually looks a little more fuchsia, but I'm kind of here for it. Blacks are a little black, you know what I mean? So let's just like, whoop. Okay, we're gonna lift the shadows a tiny bit. I don't actually think a lot needs to happen to the car. Let's select it and maybe add some contrast and see what happens. That looks good. Let's bring up the clarity somewhere around here. That looks shiny. Now let's go in with the brush on those wheels. Okay, we're gonna add another brush. I wanna paint on under where the license plate would be and see what kind of texture I can get back with the grills. Because right now it's just kind of dark under there. Okay, lifting the shadows isn't really doing anything. Let's try the exposure. So I feel like we're losing a little bit of that texture from the grill and from the wheels, so I just want to bring some of it back. Now let's do that fun move with the linear gradient that we did in the last photo. Sweet. And here is the before and after. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and come along behind the scenes on a very quick and stressful car shoot. If you like this video, please give it a like down below, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. I'm gonna go sleep for 20 years because for me, it's like a 12-hour time difference.